You think women play games with silence, mixed signals, or sudden distance, but the truth is, they start playing you long before any of that happens. It begins with 4 simple words, so soft, so harmless, that you never question them. And that's exactly why they work. Every man has heard these words. Almost none understand what they reveal. If you've ever found yourself waiting, hoping, overthinking, or fighting for clarity that never comes, chances are these words were used on you, not to inform you, to shape you. In this video, I'm exposing the 4 words women say right before they pull you into a dynamic where she holds the leverage and you lose control. And once you see what these words really mean, you'll never fall into that trap again. Language is the quietest weapon a woman will ever use, and the most efficient one because it leaves no fingerprints. Most men look for signs in her actions, the distance, the mixed signals, the sudden drop in warmth. But what they miss is that a woman rarely starts with behavior. When she wants to influence the dynamic without taking responsibility for it, she uses a single well-chosen word. And that word shapes the entire emotional frame you operate in. This is what psychologists call framing. One word can bend your interpretation without you noticing. She says it softly, casually, as if it means nothing. But inside that tiny syllable is the real question she's asking. How much can I steer you without ever pushing you? Imagine a man who keeps hearing a woman tell him she's busy. He takes it at face value. He thinks she's overwhelmed, tired, managing life. What he doesn't see is the calibration happening underneath. She's not measuring her schedule. She's measuring him. Every delayed reply, every vague excuse, every small withdrawal. It's all data. She's watching how far you'll bend, how quickly you'll chase, how easily your standards dissolve when you think you're being patient. Women test not because they're cruel, but because they're wired to look for the man who leads himself. A man who anchors. A man who doesn't drown in the emotional tide the moment she shifts the current. That's why the 4 words you're about to learn matter so much. They're not random. They're tools. Each one categorizes you. Are you self-governing? Are you insecure? Are you easy to guide? Are you impossible to move? Let me show you the 4 words women use when they're not choosing you, but want you to keep choosing them. Number 1, busy. When a woman tells you she's been so busy lately, most men hear a schedule problem. They think she's juggling work, stress, family, life. But when a woman is genuinely interested, she doesn't become less available. She becomes resourceful. Busy isn't about time, it's about priority. And the moment that word slips out too often, she's not revealing her workload. She's revealing where you sit in her hierarchy. Here's what most men never notice. Busy is a form of control through inconsistency. She shows up just enough to keep you hoping, but not enough to give you certainty. That unpredictability triggers something powerful in the male brain. Intermittent reinforcement. The same psychological mechanism that keeps people addicted to slot machines keeps men addicted to women who give attention in short, unpredictable bursts. She's not consciously thinking, "Let me condition him." But she is absolutely watching what happens when she delays the reward. Do you wait longer? Do you try harder? Do you shrink your needs to fit her rhythm? Now imagine this. A man texts her, "Good morning." No reply. He checks his phone at lunch. Still nothing. By evening, he tells himself she's just busy. The next day, she suddenly responds with warmth, a cute emoji, maybe even a voice note. His brain lights up like he won the lottery. He didn't. But the contrast between absence and attention creates the illusion of value. The more he invests, the busier she becomes. The moment he pulls his energy back, she magically becomes free again. From a woman's perspective, there's a simple truth. When she wants you, she doesn't get less available. She gets creative. She finds 2 minutes. She sends a quick note. She makes effort visible. Women who truly desire a man fight for space with him, not excuses. But men make one critical mistake. They think patience is attractive. They think waiting shows loyalty or maturity or emotional strength. It doesn't. To a woman testing your boundaries, waiting is submission. It tells her she can ration her presence and you'll still stay. So, how do you break the busy illusion? You don't confront her. You don't chase clarity. You don't explain your feelings in a 3-paragraph text. You simply reduce access. You match her distance without hostility. You remove the reward she expected your attention. When she realizes she can't trigger you by pulling away, the entire frame collapses. The space she created to test you becomes the space she fears losing, because indifference is the only language that breaks the busy illusion. And when you stop serving her delays, you stop being controlled by them. That's the moment the power shifts, because you're no longer competing for her time. She's competing for your presence. Number 2, maybe. A woman says, "Maybe, I'll let you know." And most men hear possibility. What she actually gave you is suspension. A soft, subtle cage that keeps you emotionally available without requiring her to commit. Maybe isn't a doorway. It's a holding pattern. It keeps you circling, while she decides whether you're worth landing for or whether someone else has already earned the runway. Picture the moment. You ask her out on Saturday. She smiles through text, drops a maybe, and disappears for 48 hours. Then suddenly, she posts a story laughing in a car that isn't yours. Most men try to be polite. They tell themselves not to pressure her. They wait, thinking patience will eventually be rewarded. But to a woman, waiting doesn't read as respect. It reads as compliance. Maybe serves one purpose, maintaining control of the pacing. She gets to check her options, her mood, her convenience, while you stay emotionally parked, hoping the coin flips your way. That imbalance is where she evaluates you. Not your looks, not your money, your boundaries. Here's the truth many men don't want to hear. When a woman wants you, she doesn't gamble with the chance of losing you. Maybe only shows up when she's unsure, uninvested, or unwilling to close the window completely. And this is where men trap themselves. They double text. They soften their tone. They send another friendly invitation. They try to look easygoing, patient, understanding. They don't realize that every extra ounce of effort reinforces her power. The more you wait, the less she feels she has to choose. Let me give you a familiar scenario. A man spends days hanging on a maybe. She never gives a date. She never gives a time. She never gives a plan. But he keeps checking his phone, interpreting silence as progress. Meanwhile, she's keeping him on emotional standby, just in case the men she really wants don't follow through. You were never the priority. You were the insurance policy. So, how do you break out of the soft cage? You treat maybe as a closed door. Not with anger, not with attitude, but with clarity. A simple shift. Let me know when you're sure. And then you step back. You stop offering time she hasn't earned. You stop scheduling your life around her uncertainty. You stop proving yourself to someone who hasn't chosen you. Something powerful happens when a man no longer waits. The illusion dissolves. A woman can't keep you in limbo if you refuse to live there. Suddenly, she must decide, commit, or lose access. And for the first time, she feels the cost of her ambiguity. A woman can't cage a man who refuses to wait. And when you treat your time as valuable, she's forced to decide whether she actually wants a place in it. Number 3, friend. There's a moment every man remembers. The moment a woman looks at him with a soft smile, tilts her head and says, "You're such a good friend." It feels harmless, even flattering. But inside that single word lies the sharpest downgrade a woman can deliver without ever sounding cruel. Because when she calls you friend, she's not bonding with you. She's labeling you. Women categorize men faster than men realize. Within minutes of meeting you, she places you in one of 4 boxes: the man she feels attraction for, the man she respects, the man she can use, and the man she can confide in without ever having to choose. Friend is that last box. It means you are safe but not desired, valued but not chosen, present but not claimed. And here's the unspoken translation. You give me emotional benefits without requiring emotional commitment. Let me paint the picture. A man answers her late-night messages. He listens to her stress, her drama, her heartbreak. He gives comfort, reassurance, guidance. He thinks this closeness is building intimacy. What he doesn't see is that she leaves those conversations lighter and then goes to another man to feel excitement. He becomes her emotional outlet, her therapist, her cushion, everything except the role he actually wants. From a psychological standpoint, this is emotional labor, something women deeply value, but something they also learn to take for granted when it costs them nothing. When you give attention, empathy, presence, and availability without boundaries, she consumes it like air, effortlessly, unconsciously, endlessly. The mistake men make is believing that the more they give, the more desirable they become. But attraction doesn't grow from service. It grows from distance, direction, and self-respect. The moment you make yourself the solution to all her emotional discomforts, you erase the polarity that makes her see you as a man, rather than a support system. So, how do you escape this trap? You don't try to earn her interest. You don't increase your efforts. You reduce them. You stop replying instantly. You stop absorbing her drama. You stop playing the role she assigned you without your consent, not to punish her. Women aren't the enemy. But to reset the dynamic she unconsciously pushed out of balance. Here's what happens when you remove access. Her emotional pattern breaks. The comfort she relied on disappears. And suddenly she has to reevaluate who you are. For the first time, she sees you not as a cushion, but as a man with structure, a man who doesn't let his desire override his dignity. You don't escape the friend zone by loving harder. You escape it by stepping out. And when you stop being the place she unloads her emotions, you become someone she has to notice, not someone she simply uses. Number 4. Soon. Few words keep a man stuck longer than this one. We'll hang soon. I'll text you soon. I'll be ready soon. It sounds optimistic, gentle, almost promising, but soon is the most sophisticated stall tactic a woman uses when she wants to hold you in her orbit without offering you a place in her world. It's a future that never arrives because it was never meant to. Soon pacifies you. It keeps you emotionally invested while she keeps her options open. It lets her preserve the illusion of interest while contributing nothing concrete. From a psychological standpoint, this is temporal delay reinforcement. She feeds you hope, so you overlook the reality. Her actions aren't matching her words. Let me give you a picture every man has lived through. You ask her when she's free. She smiles through text and says, "Let's plan something soon." A week passes, then 2. Suddenly, it's been 21 days, and the closest thing to a real plan is that single dusty promise still sitting in your message thread. Meanwhile, she's out living her life, posting stories, meeting people, exploring possibilities that don't include you. Not because she hates you, but because she doesn't fear losing you. And that's the part men struggle to see. Soon is what she says when she wants to keep the door cracked, just enough to step through, if she ever wants to, but not enough for you to step in. Women use soon for 2 reasons. She doesn't want to invest in you, but she doesn't want to lose you either. You become her emotional reserve, her maybe later, her backup plan in case the men she's actually pursuing fail to deliver. And most men driven more by hope than reality let themselves believe the delay means nothing. They interpret vagueness as patience and patience as virtue. But hope without evidence isn't loyalty. It's self-abandonment. So how do you break the spell of soon? You withdraw from the fog and demand clarity through action, not emotion. The moment she uses that word, you step back, not dramatically, not angrily, just decisively. You don't chase the promise. You don't wait for the next breadcrumb. You simply treat soon as a sign she hasn't made a real choice. And you stop offering the comfort of being an unclaimed option. A future that is real has a date, a plan, a place, a time, something you can point to and say, this exists. If it doesn't exist, it isn't your future. It's a placeholder she's using to manage your expectations. And here's the shift she never sees coming. The moment. You stop accepting vague promises. You stop being the man she can indefinitely delay. That's when respect enters the room. Because you're no longer a passenger waiting for her timeline. You're a man with boundaries, momentum, and direction. A woman may delay a man who follows her pace, but she never delays a man who sets his own. And once you stop letting your life sit on her soon, she has to either step forward or step out. She didn't use those 4 words to describe her situation. She used them to measure yours. Busy, maybe, friend, soon. None of them reveal her schedule, her intent, or her availability. They reveal your reaction. Because every time she drops one of those words, she's not just speaking. She's observing. She's watching what you do with uncertainty, with distance, with ambiguity. That reaction tells her everything about where you stand in the hierarchy of men. Here's the loop most men never recognize. She uses the word, you. Interpret it emotionally. You adjust your behavior around it. She evaluates the adjustment. Your value is silently redefined. That's why the real danger isn't the word itself. It's how quickly you surrender your position when you hear it. A woman doesn't lower your value. She lets you show her how low you're willing to place yourself. I've seen this unfold countless times. A man sits across from me, confused, frustrated, convinced he's been played. When I walk him backward through the dynamic, he realizes something painful. The control she had was the control he gave. Busy made him try harder. Maybe made him wait. Friend made him serve. Soon made him hope. 4 tiny words shaped an entire relationship simply because he never questioned their framing. But that same man can transform his reality the moment he stops reacting and starts observing. The moment he hears a vague word and doesn't personalize it. The moment he stops contorting himself to fit a woman's inconsistency and instead anchors into his own standards. This is the shift from reacting to leading. From seeking reassurance to becoming the reassurance. From needing clarity to creating it through action. Women don't respect a man who needs certainty from them. They respect the man who carries certainty within himself. The man who doesn't flinch at ambiguity. The man who doesn't overinvest in unclear signals. The man who doesn't let language, soft, subtle, strategic, bend his value. Control isn't taken. It's returned the moment you stop surrendering it. And when you stop folding under those 4 little words, you stop being the man she can test, stall, or downgrade. You become the man she has to choose intentionally or lose completely. You've now seen the truth most men never catch. The 4 words themselves were never the threat. The real danger was how easily those words could pull you out of your center. Busy controlled your time. Maybe controlled your hope. Friend controlled your role. Soon controlled your future. Each one redirected your focus away from your own value and toward her approval. That's why so many men feel drained, confused, or unchosen. Not because they lacked worth, but because they kept reacting to signals that were never meant to guide them. When you stop responding the way she expects, the entire dynamic changes. You're no longer the man waiting for clarity. You're the man who creates it. You're no longer the man adjusting himself to fit her uncertainty. You're the man whose standards force others to rise or fall away. And when a woman realizes she can't move you with words, that's the moment she begins respecting you. Not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated it. So if these 4 words have ever held power over you, let this be the turning point. Choose self-control over self-doubt. Choose direction over delay. Choose yourself over the fantasy of what she might eventually give. Because the moment you stop surrendering your emotional authority is the moment you take back everything you thought she took from you. If this opened your eyes, subscribe for more. Hit like and share it with the men around you. Someone you know is stuck in one of these patterns right now. And if you want a breakdown tailored to your situation, leave a comment below. I'll tell you exactly what she's signaling and exactly how to take your power back. When you master your reactions, you master the relationship. And that is where control truly begins.